like right here.
Okay, so
All right.
I just hit record, Snavely, and
Wait.
and I want to
Yeah.
make sure it's still working
Yeah.
because usually I've recorded on a lower resolution because it was more just so I could see the person.
Thanks, man.
I was talking to Snavely.
Oh, hold on.
No,
Hey,
it's
she's talking to you.
okay. No, it's
I put on the
okay.
headphones.
It's fine. I just hope it'll
There you
work.
go. He's back.
Well, I guess I just wanted to make sure. I have it on 854 by 480 wide at video frame rate maximum. Is that going to work? Because what I'm trying to. What?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
I think it's fine.
She said.
What is it?
My
is it
computer's also crazy. So,
Is it are you running like a program that records from Skype?
call recorder.
Call recorder. That's what I use too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So if something doesn't go right, it's probably because my computer's possessed. But
And it's set to record both his feed and your feed, right?
yes, and then split screen.
Yep.
So-
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Okay.
Sweet.
Thank you, Snave.
Yeah.
You know what we should do, Cameron? We should start off by you look to the right, I'll look to the left, and be like, "Hey there, Cameron.
What's up? Good to see you.
Good to see you too." Let's look at the folks.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, okay. Well, I know you're really busy and important because you're a magazine is coming out this week, right? Is that
Yeah.
what you?
The
What's
September issue.
what's the technical term for a magazine dropping?
It's gonna come out. That I don't know.
That
We're
sounds-
releasing the September. I don't know. We're sending the September issue to the printer. That's
It's
what we're
dropping. Maybe
Sure.
you could start
Just like
saying
an
that.
album.
Yeah, let's do that. Which, by the way, I've been doing my research, and that whole thing, the drop,
Yeah.
that's impressive.
You like it?
Yes, because I want hard copy disc CDs. Otherwise, I get scared. I just
Yeah.
got into Pandora. That was a big step.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to 2009.
Yes, thank you. So I just pushed play on the drop, and music played, and it kept playing, and it just felt so free and official.
It was free, literally free.
How long do things stay on there?
As long as the artist wants. Some artists want to do it just like release week or the week before it releases, and then some just put it up forever. So we're doing it to support artists. We just do it because we love good music, and our readers do too. So
Yeah.
whatever they want, that's what we'll do.
Well, it works because I've probably told 6 people about Sleeping at Last.
Yeah. Oh man, Ryan,
they're
he's the
good.
best. Yeah.
Oh, hey, look, a little message just came up. This Mac is not running fast enough to record the video from this call.
Well, it's because you're in 2009, and so you have an old computer that
No.
just discovered Pandora.
Here's the thing. I just got a brand new computer. It's a MacBook Pro. Yeah. But see, I've done something that I haven't totally fixed yet, which has to do with my email. And apparently I have 30,000 emails on my hard drive or something.
How many of
Oops.
them are unread?
29,000.
Yeah.
No, it's all my old emails, and anyways, I don't need to get into it, but I'm hoping that this is still recording, and we'll
Okay.
just go for it. But yes, point being, I don't want to keep you for too long, but since I'm doing
Don't
it,
mind. This is fun.
okay, good. I do have a chiropractic appointment. Oh, and I just changed my muumuu, but I'm
Not
still
out
in
of-
a muumuu.
Yeah, not out of muumuus. You just swapped
Changed
it
to
out.
another. I've got a lot of them. It's just my thing, and
I was gonna ask, what is that? What's that about?
Well, my uncle is Chinese, and
Okay.
back in the 70s, he and my aunt went to Indonesia where he grew up, and they were like, let's bring these back and sell them. I mean, it's very hippie, They're very
Yeah.
comfortable. And then they didn't. And then when my cousin got married, she gave one to all of her bridesmaids and the MC of her wedding. And I was obsessed, and I was like, I want all of them. And she's like, well, there's a box in the basement. And I got 12. And I gave some away to friends, which I want back now because I don't think that they appreciate them to the degree that I do.
No. They're not going to swap muumuu for muumuu. They're not going all muumuu like you.
They're not.
It's illuminating.
Oh, nice transition, Cameron.
You're welcome.
I did this project called the Illumination Project, and I interview my friends or ask them to write guest posts for me. But since you and I both realized that we hate writing, we figured that we would do this instead.
Ah, We do hate writing.
So I'm going to interview you in the style of Barbara Walters. Are you ready?
Like literally, like you're gonna don her persona.
Yep, she wears muumuus. It's little known fact. Usually the camera's from here up.
Okay, I like it.
Okay. Okay, so, not to be cheesy, but there had to have been some type of illumination moment for you that led you to go, I want to start Relevant back in 2000.
Yeah. I was 19. I know the exact night that it happened.
Do tell.
Yeah, I was in Toronto at a gathering. I was a sophomore in college, and it was my fall break, and I heard that like God was moving at this church, and wanted to go. So I was going to meet up with some friends there. Their flights got delayed because we were coming from different places, and so the first night I was there by myself, and I remember at the end of the service, it was like, they prayed like, hey, if you want God to speak to you about kind of like put dreams in your heart or what he's called you to do, like, we'll come up, we'll pray for you. And I was like, well, I'm 19. Of course, I want to know what I'm supposed to do with my life.
Yeah.
And, nothing, I mean, that was neat. Nothing happened. But while I was there over those couple of days, like, I just saw like, there's so many college students and there's so many like people in their 20s that had come from everywhere. Like they heard God was moving. They were just so hungry spiritually. Like they came from Indiana and Seattle and whatever. And I realized like God was doing something in our generation. Like there was a hunger and a passion that was truly unique. And there was like these people like from Seattle and I mean, these are just people I met at the hotel lobby, and like Indiana, like they had no idea that what God was doing in their community was happening in Seattle or was happening, and it just struck me. And that night I was there by myself, like all night I was tossing and turning, like realizing the power of media to connect, like there needs to be a platform for our generation, like to talk about what God's doing in our generation, through our generation, kind of the things that we care about, the things that we question, like we don't have a voice. And I saw it like that map at the back of a in-flight magazine of like the globe and all the destinations or the red dots, and then like I felt like what media would do would be those red lines to connect them. And I knew that night. I mean, it was like 3 a.m. My head's just spinning with ideas. I finally got up and wrote it all down. I still have that piece of paper, and it was like, this is why I'm on earth. This is what I'm supposed to pursue. I was 19. I'm 38 now. I've been doing it for 19 years.
Carry the 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's been a pretty wild ride, but essentially at the core of it, that first moment, that first night, like that's what I'm supposed to do.
Wow.
And it's changed a lot, but
yeah,
at the core of it, we're creating a platform to give voice to what God's doing in our generation and talk about the things that matter to our generation, the things that are relevant to us.
Yeah.
So.
Is that piece of paper in a drawer nearby?
No, I keep finding it when I like move or clean the house. Like I should probably set it aside somewhere, but
probably
it just keeps showing up.
Yeah.
It's about this big. It was on the Toronto Marriott, letterhead.
Yeah.
So.
Now you should probably frame and mat that, if you will.
Yeah, like our first
dollar, except for it was a scribble.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so on that, when you started, it probably wasn't online, was it?
No, why? Because I'm so old. This is pre-internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you just learned about Pandora.
Yeah.
No, it was.
I have a Juno email account. Do you remember Juno?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Relevant started as a GeoCity site. No. So, I was in college, and so the next few years, I just pursued like everything I could possibly learn about media, and got involved in school paper and got internships and stuff like that, and created a business plan. And the business plan was essentially what we're doing now. It was going to be a website, a print magazine, books, which we did for 5 years. We don't anymore. Mm-hmm. And like it would all kind of like feed each other. And it was a multifaceted, kind of multimedia platform for publishing. We started the website in 2002. Mm-hmm. And then the print magazine came out a year later in 2003 after we kind of built up an audience. So.
Okay. So the online came out first, or the website, but in the last 2 years, you've completely shifted more to an online presence. So how did that happen?
Well, yeah, we've been publishing daily on the website forever, but in around 2011 and 12, we just felt like I looked up and we'd been doing the same thing. like we've been kind of treading water. I mean, trying to hustle and launch new things or whatever, but at the core of it, like we were doing the same thing the same way, and I was getting bored. I mean, to me, it's like I don't want to just like maintain.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? Like, I want to make a difference. I want to grow. I want, and so I think we added up through all of our platforms. We reached about 700,000 people a month then. And I just started saying, like, what would it look like to like reach 10 million? Because like we'd been reaching like the same number for a few years, and it's like, what would it look like? I mean, is that possible? It's probably not 10 million people reading words on paper. It's probably no, it's definitely not. So what would that look like? And so we just started to kind of dream up like, what would it look like if it wasn't all about trying to sell a paper magazine? So we deployed our iPad edition, which is honestly way better than the print magazine. We totally blew up our website. It took us a couple years, and we spent like $250,000 like building our new website, and changed our web publishing strategy, and like changed our social media strategy, and changed our podcast strategy, and just like started to think about like, okay, if it's not about the magazine, what would it be like to make an impactful content experience on any of the platforms? So if somebody never wants to have the magazine, they just want to come to the website, what would that look like? What's the difference between the type of an article we would put on the web versus the type we would put on in the magazine? You're going to curl up with it. You're going to sink your teeth into it. You're going to spend time with it. So longer, substantive profiles. That stuff doesn't work on the web. The web is like shareable content, controversial content, talk about it content, quick content. And so like we started to clarify that. And in that clarity, like things started to change. Fast forward 2 years later, last month, we reached 17.3 million people.
Yeah.
Same size staff, same money.
Wow.
It's insane. And it's all digital, and it's all free. And that is so exciting because there's so many things you can do and innovate and create with an audience, there. So
well, and the podcast has played into that as well. I mean, you said the podcast was something you started off just doing for fun.
Yeah.
And then you've had some people come in and help work with that. And now it's obviously like a top, podcast.
It's thanks. It's we started back in
that's
05.
That's the really kind term. Top.
Yeah, top podcast. Quote. We're gonna put that in the media kit.
I did a lot of research, and I was like, "What are the top podcasts?"
So yeah, we started in 05. So in August of 05. So we're coming up on 9 years of podcasting, and the show's evolved.
Geriatric podcaster, by the way.
It literally was like iTunes added this thing called podcasting. We're like, hey, we should do one of those. I mean, we had a mic in a room. I mean, we just put our full archives up on the website like a few months ago, and it's mortifyingly embarrassing. I won't listen to them. I mean, but like people are like, wow, you guys have come a long way. Thanks. So yeah, it's the highlight of my week. It's the most fun we have. It's kind of a weird mix of like a variety show, a morning radio show, and a late night talk show. It's an hour to 2 hours, depending on how off track we get. And it's a weird mix of like kind of produced, we have sponsors and we have music and also just totally like off the cuff, like just joking around with your friends like you would if you're just at dinner. You know? So we kind of like create a friendship with our listeners, and like they feel like they know us, and it creates a connection to the magazine, to the brand, so it's just fun. Yeah.
Well, I've become a fan of this top podcast, and that's one of the reasons that I wanted to interview you, because when this goes up, it'll be the day before the third week in a row that I've been on the Relevant podcast.
Okay. So I'm really sick of seeing your name clog our entire Twitter feed. Our listeners are in love with you, and it's very annoying because there are other people on the show we're talking about.
I died at that one that was like, can Joy Agershus replace Cameron? Oh man.
Did you see my reply? I replied to that.
Did you see? I know. Did you actually? Oh, My mail's here. Okay.
Hey, mail.
Thanks.
Are you like in your foyer? Where are you?
I'm in my kitchen. Or, I mean,
okay.
well, I'm in between. Like, I have a kitchen here, and then I have a picture of a kitchen behind me, and then my dining room table's right here. My front door's right there.
So lots of kitchen.
Lots of stuff happening. I eat wherever. But yeah, I was quite entertained at my response where I was like, I'll give everybody raises. And I called myself Mommy Warbucks. But
No, like when that person did it, they're like, somebody said, Joy should replace Shauna. No, Joy should replace Eddie. No, Joy should replace Cameron. And I just finally replied, I'm like, we're people, right? We see this. This is just mean. Joy's great and all.
No one ever said I should replace anyone except for you, and that was a joke. The
No.
Shauna was, can she just keep filling in for Shauna while Shauna's gone? Eddie was, can they do it together and just have a therapy show together?
That is true.
You were the only one. You don't lump Shauna and Eddie into that.
Yeah. No, but by the time I had seen, like, they were just getting worse and worse. I was just like, stop. We're humans. We have feelings. You are apparently quite the belle at the ball with all the single listeners of our podcast, especially guys in Portland.
There's one man in Portland. You're making this sound way worse. He's just kind, and I love him. No, just kidding.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to tweet that at him. He's just dropped mail off at your house. He's standing right outside.
Hey, Billy. I'll be there in a second. Just wrapping things up. No, anyways, I have had so much fun being on this because it's really your fault in a sense because we were connected because of Shauna, but I had some questions about podcasting because I was supposed to start my own podcast, and then you were like, I'm going to make you rethink everything about your life. No, it's been helpful, but...
No, what did I say? I said, why do you want a podcast?
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, so you have it. You have the personality.
No,
you have
we're
something
not
to
getting
say.
into
You
that.
have all these things. But why do you want to do a podcast? And so you then were like, well, it could be this, it could be that. And I'm like, figure out the answer to that and then do a podcast.
Yes. Well,
That's all I said.
and the fact that I hate technology.
That could be a problem.
And you guys do everything really well. And so it's been really fun to be on and see how this is done. And so then when you asked me to fill in for Shauna for those 2 weeks, you were like, well, you've got to do a little bit of homework. And I've been listening. And I'm not even kidding. I've been running at night, which is probably not safe. And I look like a lunatic. I'm laughing. Like, I'm legitimately laughing up and down Hawthorne as I run listening to this podcast because I'm trying to study who's who. I mean, I'd listened to it before, but I didn't have any need to know who was who.
Yeah.
But I will say something I've noticed about you, Cameron.
Okay,
I was going to throw you under the bus on the podcast. Well, I'll probably do both places, but...
Yeah, that's fine. We can edit it out on that one.
Yeah. You totally ignore people, but like in a way that I know you're doing it because you have to keep the podcast moving, but it's so funny. Everybody gets ignored by you at least one time during the podcast.
Okay, so first of all, it's not necessarily true. Sometimes I do, and you guys called me out the first time you came on the show. But
I think
a
they
lot of
edited that
times,
out.
Chad had to like cut something short, right? So like we went on for another 3 to 5 minutes, and Chad truncated it. So it looks like, you know what I mean? Like it looks like I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna keep going. You know what I mean? But
No,
like,
I was on the recording and I heard you doing it.
I know that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I know.
No, but I know you have to keep moving. But it's an interesting technique.
It's a tough mix of like trying to just like go down all the rabbit trails, but also kind of have like a thing, you know, like we're trying to move this car down the road a little bit.
Exactly.
You know?
You have to be the dad of the bus field trip. What?
I do.
Yeah. Okay. So on that, since I'm kind of like an honorary member, I heard
and if Billy in Portland had any say, you would
lifetime membership.
It would be your podcast moving forward.
Oh, Billy. Truly, what if I run into him?
Now he knows where you're jogging.
Oh, great. Oh, but he's just going to be scanning for a moo-moo.
That's what he's just watching this moo-moo just run down the street.
No, he was just being sweet because we had a mutual friend, which means he must have looked me up on Facebook, which...
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Anyways,
we didn't give your Twitter name, so like I don't know how so many people are tagging you and...
You guys posted it. You guys posted in the
That's right. We did. Okay.
The Boys of Summer met a real girl. I've never been called that before. But so since I was doing research and listening to all your entire archive.
All 400 episodes.
Yeah, I've been busy. I heard you guys are going to Lollapalooza.
Yes. Do you go to Lollapalooza?
No, but I feel like I should get a go.
You need to go. Like it is.
No, like
it is,
on your dime.
Because you don't you like have friends? You love Chicago.
I love Chicago. That's where I go to see.
Do you have a place
improv.
to stay? I'll fly you
Yeah.
there.
Really?
I have a media pass. I have an extra one.
When is it?
Next weekend, the 1st through the 4th of August. 1st through the 3rd.
I can't. I'm gonna be in Canada. Silliness. Maybe I could. I'm coming. Oh, I can't. Yeah. But I'm gonna be so close. I'm gonna be in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Billy, follow me.
he's like, oh, I have family there.
Okay. Well, it was worth a shot. Now
Hey, you asked, I offered.
I know.
So I really do have a media pass, so
I might try to. Oh, I literally could take the train there from Grand Rapids.
you should. It's a $350 ticket for free. So I mean, get in.
What? Okay. Well, now you want to rein it back in and give the people something of substance other than my travel arrangements. But Billy
is taking serious notes.
If you want to know, I'm going to be in Grand Rapids, then Canada, then Atlanta, then Colorado Springs, and then I'll be back, sweetheart. Okay, so 2 more questions I wanted to ask you just about your practice of like, obviously you started Relevant, you've made it escalate. When you're an ideas person, and I think sometimes an ideas person can just kind of like trample over everybody else that you're working with and just be like, this is what we're going to do. So what is your process with your team? Like, are you the ideas person and then you just say, hey team, like, let's just throw this at the wall and see what sticks? Or do you guys just like mull over things and then try one thing at a time, or just what?
Both and. I mean, it depends. Like the ideas of like what we're going to do in the magazine, editorial ideas for the website, that's totally collaborative and actually doesn't all come from me anymore. The editors really are the ones who are bringing a lot of those ideas, and I get feedback and fresh eyes, and we collaborate and we meet regularly. And I'm also kind of the creative director too, so I have my hands in like everything we're doing. We're a small team. We're like 15 people, and so there's a lot of tension that I feel day to day of like working with and collaborating with the creative team, the editorial team, and stuff. But then also thinking about where we're going and keeping an eye on that. And so we've been in a season lately where there's a lot of like new stuff in the air, and it'll be a thing of like I'll be thinking on it for quite a while, and I'll pull in kind of my trusted leadership team and just like, what if, and I'll just kind of lay out just a what if thing. They'll speak into it. They'll kick the tires on it. I can tell immediately if this thing has legs or not, and if it doesn't, okay, we'll move on. And if it does, all right, let's flesh this out. Let's figure out if there's something here, and then try to do smart business practices and try to like really do our research and really like plan well and really like kind of refine. We're in the middle of that on like 3 or 4 new things right now, just kind of the refining process. Yesterday because we're on magazine deadline, I was supposed to get through like literally read through like 10 articles that needed my sign off, and I just got caught up with Chad about some audio and video projects that we're really excited about. Like just like literally all afternoon we were just in the studio and we were like what ifs, and we were like sketching things out, and that's my favorite thing. That's when I come alive. But I have to do it with somebody, and they have to speak into it and like buy into it, that it's a shared vision.
Yeah.
Because they then are going to be the ones to like lead and implement. And so some stuff, we'll throw a bunch of noodles on the wall. Little ideas, big ideas, whatever. Little ideas, but if it's a big idea, we try to really get buy-in at every level and have a whole lot of do not pass go moments. Like if it doesn't get to this point, then it won't survive. And I think we're getting better at that. We're 12, how many years? 14 years in? Holy cow. I've had this startup mindset, this hustle mindset. And it's only in the last year or so that I'm realizing like we're not a startup anymore.
Yeah.
We should probably like have systems to figure things out and grow our business, But,
401k.
yeah, we don't have that yet. So
Oh, sorry. Hopefully
Yeah.
your employees
Thanks.
won't be listening to this.
They know that we don't have it. It's not a surprise to them. They also know that
But
we
you
would like
send them
do
to
it.
Disney World as much as they want to go because, oh, look, the eye roll. You hate it. Okay, I know Orlando is so hip and cool. It's so cool. Okay, well, on that, now we want to make it real. Has there been anything professionally or personally that you feel like has been a light bulb moment for you that you feel like could maybe impact other people?
I've had a lot. I mean, professionally and personally. I mean, in the 14 years, I learned a lot by like making mistakes, frankly, and so I've kind of learned a lot of things the hard way. Um, the things that would benefit others, advice that I would dole out that I've learned the hard way, that I wouldn't do again if I, could go back in time. Find the balance. When you have an idea and a vision, you want to like dive into it. Things don't have to be done tomorrow, although that's how I'm wired. It's like, you have an idea, let's do it. Hence yesterday, I sidetracked everything I was supposed to be doing because I got excited about a new idea. But things that will last, it's worth taking time to do it right. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. So don't rush. Really always consider the why. Like, the other thing is like trying to figure out, like, have a filter of discernment, like what's a good idea and what's a God idea. I know it's cliche, but like, you have to like be open to God, like prompting you to like shut something down or stop doing it the way you've always done it, or change course. But like really figuring out like, oh, it's the Lord. I mean, you need to obey, whether or not it's terrifying. But if it's just like you, or it's just like an idea, that's a tough thing to straddle. And I've learned a lot the hard way. So finding the balance, life balance with work, and don't rush, and really listen to the Lord and obey what he's calling you to do, and doing nothing else but that, are kind of like the big things that I try to like remind myself every day.
Yeah. Well, and I think we kind of talked about that on the first podcast of just how do you discern between what God's leading you into and what's just you wanting to charge forward, and just finding that like, and obviously you have a staff, I have like people around me that speak into that I think can affirm like, you're actually free to make your own decision on this, or this is a good idea, or, that I think sometimes it's not as clear as God whispering into our ear. but then there are supernatural moments like you had when you were 19 where you're like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And obviously it's come to fruition in many ways. So well done.
Thanks. I realized like 10 years in, like, wait, we, part of the whole 2011 thing was like, we set out and we accomplished that first thing, that first vision. And it's like, am I really for the rest of my life supposed to just maintain that? And it was a real soul searching season for me. And I feel like we kind of like, although the core purpose of giving voice to what God's doing in this generation is still there, we've thrown everything else out. Like media is changing. You have to.
Well, you even said something that has stuck with me when we chatted about podcasting and different stuff about the book division of Relevant and why you shut that down. Can you share with the folks?
Yes. We published books from '01 to '06, and two things were happening. We did it. There was nobody publishing books at that time for a Christian 26-year-old.
Which, side note, I remember I read one of them. It may even be somewhere. Because my dad, it was like when his book came out in 2004, we went to CBA, which is the Christian Booksellers Association. And I was like,
I grew up at CBA. I know what CBA is.
Yeah, I had never been before. And little did I know how many free books I would get in the future. But at that point I was like, yeah. And I went to the Relevant table and got Flashbang.
Oh yeah, Mark
I
Steele's
loved that.
Mark's good.
I like literally, I've only ever done one Amazon review of a book in my life. And it was that one. You can find it. Like, I literally, like, thought he was so funny. I literally, like, laughed out loud on an airplane. So I was like, I'm going to review this. Which, fast forward, this is a side story that I think is adorable. My father, my whole family
If
is,
you do
like,
say so yourself, though.
a little tech unsavvy, but we try. And so none of us like had Netflix or anything like that. And then we discovered that we all had Amazon Prime, which lets you watch stuff for free. And so I was telling my dad about it, and he starts getting into this like Irish show. It was like it's called I don't even know what it's called, but it's about an Irish priest. And it was shot like in the early 90s, and he loves it. Well, Amazon, just like when you are obviously giving a lot of attention to something, they just send it out to the people and say, hey, can you do a review? Automatically. Like, it's an auto response. My dad thought that they had seen that he was watching it, and they specifically wanted Emerson Eggridge to write this review. My dad doesn't even endorse book. Like, he's only endorsed a couple books because he's just like, I got to read the whole thing. Like, I don't want to put my name on something unless I really believe in it. He was so pumped to get his Amazon review. And then I finally told him, I'm like, Dad, they'll ask anybody that's watching it. And he's like, really? So the only two Eggridge Amazon reviews are of Flashbang of me back in whatever, 2004, 2005. And then my father for an Irish show. We're real special.
We'll Google that. So we published books, and it was like indie. We had no money. So it was like trying to do it a different model, and we did a few books a year, like 4 or 8, total. And just like it was a 360 thing. It was involved in the magazine, and we just like it was like we believed in everything we released. And our audience, which is a lot smaller than like latched onto it, and there were a lot of people that would tell us like they would just buy everything we would put out. And then because we had some success at an indie level, our distributor was like, oh, you should do more of that, and publishing, you have to do volume, and then you basically throw more noodles on the wall and more bestsellers will stick. And we're like, okay, if this is what you're supposed to do. And so they ramped us up. And then in 2005, we did 12 books. And in 2006, we did 25 books.
Whoa.
And it killed us. It changed us. It was like we became a book publishing company. And
how do you mean it killed you?
It killed us because it's like all of our creative resources, our team, our ideas, our innovation was sucked into books. And the magazine, which was only a couple years old, was like the afterthought. It was like getting the crumbs. And like there were a million stories of just things. It's just, egos once you get to that level, agents, and just like it just was like business. And books take a long time, and they suck so many resources, and it limited us in our ability to innovate or do anything else. And we were plateauing. We were treading water online. We were treading water with the magazine. And the thing that I was most passionate about.
Are you there? Hello?
You there?
Yeah. Are you there?
It cut off. Do you see that?
Yeah, it was like
I'm back.
It was like the thing that I'm most passionate about.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're back, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's grainy now, and I think my computer probably hates me. I really hope this has worked. I'm going to be so bummed if everything's lost, but...
Well, as long as we keep that Amazon Prime story.
Yeah.
That's as long as that makes
Glad
sense.
that filled up some space. But back to you.
No, so like it just the thing that we were most passionate about was the afterthought. The thing that was consuming us was books, and everybody was miserable, and I was miserable. And because of volume, we were having to push stuff out that we didn't really believe in. We were just filling a slot. And just one day I woke up and I was like, wait a second. I didn't want to go to work. Like I didn't feel like going to work. And I'm like, what? Like, this is my company. Like, how did we get to a point where I don't even want to go in and do this? And so I walked in that day, and my editor-in-chief was in tears because she had just got off the phone with one of the author's agents who was just ripping her a new one about some edits, like battling every edit. And she was in tears. I didn't want to be part of it anymore. And I just told everybody, I gathered them, I said, we're done doing books. It was a 7-figure revenue stream for us, and we were a tiny company. It was half of our revenue.
Yeah.
And I just said, it's not worth it. Life's too short.
Yeah.
We went, shutting that down cold turkey almost like killed us. But I just knew that we had gotten outside of what the sweet spot of what God was calling us to do was.
Yeah.
We were pursuing good ideas and good business versus staying true to only the stuff we believed in. And if
Yeah.
that meant one year we only released one book, then we should only release one book. And if you're doing anything outside of that, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And if it's to make money, there's a lot of other stuff you can do to make money that's a lot easier than publishing a book.
Yeah.
So it's just like the purpose side of it. I'll never have a problem taking a risk if I like fully believe in the decision, like in my soul, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what books was.
No, but
So,
I respect that. I mean, I feel like
walked away.
that is something that probably like leads to many people having burnout
Yeah,
when they
for sure.
continue to do something that they can't see beyond the like, well, we must because it's bringing us this. And like you said, something can be good, but you know, good is a deterrent from oftentimes great.
God's
So,
best.
yeah.
I agree. And like to me, the 2010, 11, 12 era too was a huge era of pruning. We did several other magazines. We had other brands. We shut them all down. We went from a staff of 30 to a staff of 11.
Whoa.
And it was hard. It was really hard. But I knew that that's what we had to do or else we wouldn't be around anymore. You know,
Yeah.
like it was just like we were spread too thin, and it was just, how do you change? How do you turn? You can't just keep doing what you've always been doing and hope for different results. You actually have to say like, okay, I am going to do these new things to get a different result. And you have to shed old. Pruning is a tangible process. You cut off
Yeah.
something for new growth, you
Yeah.
know, so
But not often easy.
no.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome, and we went far longer than the 15 minutes I promised. But thank you.
It killed your computer. We went so long.
It did kill my computer, but hopefully that Amazon Prime story did not get deleted.
Well,
and-
hold on. I got to ask, what's the favorite thing you watch on Amazon Prime? What have you discovered?
Oh,
Anything?
Frasier, and well, I have a TV that has no TV. Like it just
Because
has.
you live in Portland.
Yeah, but literally, it's like if you could see it right now, I could turn it. It's like I bought it off
It's in your kitchen?
Craigslist. No, it's in the living room.
Okay.
I don't want to mess up my computer at all. I'm gonna like turn. It's gonna be like. Meow. No, it's like someone made fun of me the other day. I thought it was quasi cool, but then I realized I did get it in 2006. I made a friend go with me. I think somebody needed drug money on Craigslist because it was like it was like flat screen when flat screens kind of were first coming out, but it's like the resolution is so bad. But I still, like, when I was little, we didn't have TV for 7 years because it broke one year, and my parents were like, we can't afford to get another one. And
okay.
when we did get a TV, all of us kids had to spend our Christmas money getting it, and it was a 19-inch TV with a VHS. And every Friday night, we got Little Caesars pizza and Coke and a movie. And so now I'm this real weird thing where I love movies. But they're such a treat for me. They're like still so like and so I still like to have like the hard copy whatever. And so I had borrowed well, first of all, I guilt tripped my mom that she wouldn't let me watch 90210 when I was growing up, which she shouldn't have. And so she bought it for me.
Good parenting.
I know. She bought it for me to watch 20 years after it had come out. And so I watched the first 3 seasons of 90210 on DVD. Then my friend had Frasier, and so I borrowed those from her, the first 3 seasons. And then I went to Amazon Prime, and they had the 4th season. So I'm starting that now. I'm pumped about it.
So are you because you have a MacBook Pro, so you can lay in bed and watch whatever.
Which, guess what? I just got this like 2 months ago, and this is again how rare I watch DVDs. I went to watch one the other day, no DVD slot.
No.
Why
Welcome
would
to
they do
2014.
that?
Well, a couple of reasons. Everything can be downloaded. Apps, I mean, software.
I won't get to that point for 10
DVDs.
years. They have
true.
to think about the consumer.
Okay, they have these things.
Oh, I thought you were
It's a
moving away because I
DVD.
was yelling.
It's a DVD player that plugs in, and you can put it in that.
Yeah, and how much does that cost? A pretty
I don't
penny.
know, like $30. It's for old school people who don't want to download stuff.
How is something so flat and thin considered for old school?
Because it's like you're scared of downloading things.
Well,
All right,
why would it just hurt them so much to put one little slit in
because
here?
it's like they need to. It's tiny. It's thin. I'm on one too. There's no room. There's no room. Just let it be. It's light and
it
wonderful.
shocked me. I'd had this for like 2 months, and then I was like looking everywhere on my computer. They didn't tell me that at the store.
Of course not. Oh.
I'm like trying to slide it under keys and stuff.
Just be wary. Amazon Prime has like a lot of 80s and early 90s TV shows. They don't hold up. None of them hold up.
What do you mean?
Just like the other night, I was on sabbatical recently, and I was like, one day I had literally nothing to do. I'm like, I'm gonna relive something
Alf.
from my childhood.
Alf. I heard that when I was
Yeah.
running.
I found Alf, and
not good.
it makes me sad for my childhood. Like it ruined a fond memory of loving that show. So I'll never like go find Webster or like none of it holds up. Like just
Cosby
be
would
wary.
hold up. Cosby would hold
It
up.
totally holds up. It totally does. That's
Have you dabbled in Frasier at all?
Yeah, I watched it when it was on TV.
Well, here's the thing. I did too. I remember in high school, like thinking it was pretty funny, but I never watched it sequentially, and so I don't know if you've ever done that, but it's smart.
Yeah, it's smart. And you have the Pacific Northwest tie-in.
Pacific Northwest and my dream of being a radio call-in therapist, which you had come to fruition last week. So thank you.
That's true.
At one point in some of the podcasts that we record, I'd like to just go, "Hello, Seattle. I'm listening."
Do it. Do it on the next one.
Okay, that sounds good.
That can be your thing when I introduce you at the very beginning of the show.
Yeah.
You can just do that.
Hello,
because
world.
everybody has a thing. Jesse says hello, and hey friends and stuff like that. That'll be your thing.
Okay. I'll need to sharpen it before the week
You'll
go
have
live.
you'll have a little Frasier tie-in.
That's great. Okay, well, thank you so much. I hope this worked, and
I'm
thanks,
so mad.
thanks for letting me be on the podcast.
There's a line of people outside my office because there's a meeting that's supposed to start 10 minutes ago.
Oh no!
And no, this is great. I'm like saying no priorities, but
yeah,
if it didn't record,
Snavely.
but if it didn't record,
You'll be mad at me. Well, now I live in fear.
mad at
Thanks. Okay. Have a good meeting.
All right,
See you at
thanks.
Lollapalooza.
see you.